The frying pan, the greatsword, and the bat are too overpowered. Why? It's really simple. Because they can both. They can all kill you in one hit. Let me tell you why it's so easy. Let's say you're fighting on the lava map and you're doing pretty good. You fought off an entire push from multiple players and healed up to about 75 health. You see one singular enemy on their way with the frying pan out. You decide not to shoot them with a rocket because it's going to get reflected, and you're too far away to be accurate with the super ball, so you decide to melee fight him to get him out of the way as quickly as possible. On 90% of the platform directly behind the tower, if you are hit towards or away from the tower with Mega Smack, you're going to die. If you are hit parallel to the tower, you are going to die. I am not kidding or exaggerating. The game has almost zero friction for stun players, and for whatever reason, the stun lasts until you fall off of the platform. From that to that. You're absolutely right. The greatsword has no reason to knock back that far at that angle. Well, the baseball bat is a bit more of a glass cannon, but still way too strong. If you're hit with the bat's special move, the home run, at any point, you lose, unless you have a deity on your side that makes the arc of your body go to a lily pad like it did to me. You also would have to be on Dark Jungle. The reason why your death is inevitable in this situation is because if you are hit by the home run at the very top of your tower, the stun will last, for no joke, no exaggeration, until you hit the kill plane. And this is while using the greatsword, which has stun resistance. The more balanced thing about this weapon is that if you're attentive enough, you'll see the wind-up animation and not get killed. Let's see if the pan can be effectively avoided this way. This is unacceptable. For those who don't speak nerd, about 1/6 of a second is needed to kill someone with this weapon. Blink and you can miss it happening twice. The reason that the pan is so much worse is because, of course, it's instant, but it's also a spike. Like, Mario forward aerial, haha, funny. Yeah, it knocks back at a similar angle. And so, yeah, it takes almost zero skill to use. You just have to know how to get up to someone. Unless I manage to spin them off the edge, which I will be getting to, I do have words for the spin. Or hit them with a half charge or full charge buster, I'm gonna have to get up close. The hat isn't that long ranged. It's going to be, the super ball, doesn't do damage either. It's going to need to be within an area where it's easy to hit me right afterward. And I'd have to do it 4 or more times on a 6-second cooldown. Or a similar cooldown. I don't remember the super ball's cooldown. But I do know that, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I do know that the super ball does not do that much damage, and I'd have to throw it over and over and over again. There's very many ways to get close to someone. Just because 3 weapons are unbalanced does not mean someone should have to switch to fight against it. Imagine if you like to play one way or like to use a certain weapon, but someone picked a weapon that made it so that if you don't play a specific way or use a different weapon than the one that you like, you lose. Its identity is an outright busted piece of garbage that needs only one thing: the ability to get within melee range of your enemies on most of the surface area of every map. You don't even need to fight them, just press R in front of them. That's not a very demanding task. And now to the Greatsword. I might just be biased, but I think it's the least broken of the three weapons because of its lack of stun. If I spin you off the map with it, you have a chance at getting back, except for on the bottom of lava for some reason, because it's too close to the ground. Not the ground. It's too close to the quote-unquote kill plane, and the burn, not the burn damage. The right before you take the burn damage, you jump in the air and take 40, and the spin does 60. So you're gonna die anyway. But what I propose is that you give the spin upward knockback to match, so that, you don't always instantly die all the time. And, yeah, so the pan is up next. My thoughts for this one are to lessen the knockback, by about half, remove the stun entirely, and just replace it with slowdown, not the extra gravity effect, because that's just going to give us the same problem as last time. Just make you a little bit slower. I'd say about half speed. Maybe a little less slow, but right now I'm thinking about half speed, maybe quarter speed. What I suppose be done for this is remove the stun, have it deal about double the knockback of that crazy greatsword stun I pulled in RBX2, give it a huge amount of upward knockback, so that they can get back, lessen the end lag a lot and the wind-up animation a little. This will give it a new purpose. Instead of killing people instantly all of the time, it will send them away for a bit so you can concentrate on what you're doing. This can be used if you commonly find yourself in fights where you're outnumbered, or if you like going for air shots. If you're accurate enough, you can force the enemy to spend more time dodging your shots than returning. So if you're actually skilled enough, you can use the bat as an instant kill. You just have to be more, good at shooting things. Yeah, that's about it. And now it's time for me to gush about my favorite weapon in the game, the Greatsword. I know I just said it needs a nerf. It does, but I'm going to talk about the less dumb part about this sword. Except, it's the dumbest part of the other swords I just talked about. Remember that thing about stun resistance that I talked about earlier? Well, 1/4 of the time that you're stunned, if the greatsword is equipped, it'll just throw that time out of the window. All that, nope, you're not stunned for, you only take 3/4 of the stun that you normally would. But the problem with this, it's still not enough in any of the scenarios that I talked about, except for the lava platform. It makes it go from 90% to about let's say 65, to around 60% of the platform you cannot get hit by Mega Smack, instead of 90. And now that that's over, I'm just going to say the worst thing possible. The Greatsword is the best mobility sword in the game. Yes, but can the other swords go up? No. Can the other swords stall you in the air with what is essentially a double jump? No. There's just one thing about it that I dislike. The swing speed decrease. Now hold on. I know that it's completely necessary. But it hides a secret, a little tiny itty bitty secret. The reflex. The reflect hitbox comes out way later than other swords. From what I can tell, it's the only sword that can't reflect the first frame it can damage someone. Most swords can just instantly negate any rockets coming their way, but if you have the greatsword, you have to actually time reflex instead of just clicking when the rocket's in front of you. Which, I mean, it's kind of a disadvantage, but I think that that either the greatsword's reflect hitbox should be like a little bit earlier, or it should be that all swords can only reflect if the sword itself touches the rocket. The only way that you can actually reflect with a greatsword, quickly that is if you spin. Spin is the best thing in the game. It can reflect, does 60 damage, has a very effective setup for a read, and can go up. It's also a very effective leave me alone tool, which, to be honest, should be fixed, but I don't think it should stop being a leave me alone tool. It's really good. It's a little bit too good as a leave me alone tool, but it can still be that, just not as good. It's also frame 16, which is pretty nice. No, the pan activating instantly for an almost guaranteed one-hit KO is bad. The greatsword is better, but still nerf-worthy, because it leaves at least a chance for survival, it's meant for damage, and is slower than the pan. I literally just tested this like 6 minutes ago. No, it wasn't. It was 15 minutes ago. And it's slower than the pan for a less effective move. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that makes total sense. Alright, well, yeah, that's basically it. That's all I have to say, really. If you disagree with any of the things that I said, leave a comment. Please, I'd love to know why you disagree. I don't just want to hear, oh, I disagree. I want to know what makes me wrong. So yeah, have a day that is anti-bad.
I think it's time to leave. Have a day that is anti-bad.